Hi, I'm Jeff Miller, TD 13167 with the 501st Legion. The following videos are meant to be a brief introduction into the various parts of Sandtrooper armor, along with a few comments and tips. I hope you enjoy the videos and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, welcome back to another video about my Sandtrooper armor. Today we're going to be talking about thighs and how I have mine set up. And again, there's lots of different ways you can set these up. The build is pretty much the same for thighs. There's not a lot of variation on those. However, the way that the thighs stay on or attached to you or your costume can vary from person to person. So first let's talk about build of just the hard parts. So the thighs for the Sandtrooper come in a left and a right. There's a distinctively different curve for the inside of the thigh versus the outside of the thigh. My thighs do have a return edge on them right here to kind of give an illusion of thickness of the armor, and that's what the return edge is for. It's there as well as on this edge as well. Now what you're going to end up doing is on all your armor pieces, as you leave this return edge and you start trooping after you get your approval and everything, you're going to realize that there's certain parts that pinch, especially on the backs of your calves and your thighs and your elbows. So what you're going to end up doing is probably coming back and trimming these. So this edge used to be a little bit bigger and it's still a little bit too thick for what they recommend in a lot of these areas. I've come back with scissors that I use to cut the plastic and trim these out. I've trimmed the back out. Technically I think the CRL probably shows a lot more meat back here, but based on the way that I walk and the way that my thighs fit with my calves, I've had to trim more of this out basically on trial and error so that I could actually walk. I still can't walk upstairs very well because I can't bend my legs that much. So let's talk about cover strips. The thighs get a lot of work as you're walking around. They get a lot of pressure, they flex a lot. So on my thighs I did an inside cover strip. Same thing that I did on my calves. So the first thing I did was I fitted my thighs. I did the inside cover strip on the front and the back to kind of get them in place, and that gave me a little bit more freedom to then come back. The front cover strip is the one that you want to match to the CRL because this armor is going to fit everybody different. Everybody has a different shape, and what I realized when I did it, you can see a lot of guys' armor if they have the same type of armor from you. Some guys, the front strip matches the back strip, but that's not the way I'm built. So the front strip is the one that should meet the CRL and be of a certain dimension. You can get that off of the forums. And then if you need more of a cover strip in the back to make them fit, because it's got this edge here, there's the lip right there and right there. So the back of my thighs has a relatively large cover strip, which probably looks odd when it's all by itself, but to tell you the truth, nobody's looking at the back of my thighs, especially I've got a backpack and everything back there too, but that's just the way my thighs are put together. So that is this one. As far as the other one, that one's got this other piece here on the bottom that fits on, and the way that I put that on there was I basically used a heat gun once the thighs were ready, and I used a heat gun to try and get this to fit the shape of the thigh as good as possible. And then I came back with E6000 and tacked it with E6000 in several locations to get it into place. Make sure you round these corners off like that. There's still a return edge in here, but that doesn't actually bother me. It's not causing any problems for me. CRL requires, I think they call it a rivet. This is actually a report binder. I don't know what it's called, a little tab. Basically it's got this round piece and then these little wings. So those little wings would go through the holes on 3-hole punch paper, and then you fold it, and that's how you used to turn in your papers, I guess, or maybe they still do, or maybe everything's on email now, I don't know. But that was what I could find that matched the rivets. I could not find any rivets anywhere that matched. Plus you only needed a couple of them for this costume. So that is the little brass report binder. I put rivets on the inside, see if you can see that there. I'm sorry, not rivets, I put washers to kind of reinforce that. And then I came over the top of this with kind of a layer of E6000. It's starting to peel off because these were actually picking my undersuit. Same thing on this side. So now let's talk about, so you got both your thighs built. Now you got to get them to attach to your costume. So some people actually attach their thighs to the rest, to the basically the cod piece or the front of their armor. I felt like that was going to be too much weight and too much pulling on the chest piece and everything, because the way my clamshell's put together, I just thought it was going to be too much of a problem to troop that way. So my thighs actually are independent. They're independent of my shins, and everybody I know is that way. But my thighs are also independent of the rest, the upper parts of my armor. So basically what I did was, it's almost like a garter belt system, and they do sell these systems. Some of the guys on the forums put these together, but I've got a belt. It's just a black belt, and you can't see it once I've got the armor on. But it's just a belt that I trimmed off the excess edge of. So I basically just put this belt around my waist. In my armor, the buckle is hidden. And then I put Velcro inside of the thighs. So this is the soft, fuzzy part of the Velcro. And to allow me room for adjustment, I've left this a lot longer, but basically this is just a loop of elastic. This is E6000 back on itself, and I'm telling you, I'm amazed at how well E6000 works on all this stuff. It's been years of trooping, miles and miles of trooping. This has never pulled free. I've never trimmed this off, but also underneath right here, and I'm not going to pull it all the way off, but that is the rest of the Velcro. That's the pointed side of the Velcro, I guess. So what was able to do, you can see it doesn't line up and down, because when I put this on and wore it, when I was test fitting it, basically I kept pulling this Velcro off and moving it down, pulling this Velcro off, changing the rotation a little bit. I just kept adjusting this piece of Velcro that's on this elastic so that the thighs hung properly once I put the costume on. So that's where mine ended up on this side. I've got the same thing on this one. Again, I've just got this little pigtail left on the bottom of the armor. That's where this one lined up on this side. Same thing, this is a piece of elastic. E6000 back on itself. Allow that to dry. And then back here, to tell you the truth, it's on there so good, but there's Velcro on the back of this that then sticks to the soft part of the Velcro inside of here. The other thing on the Velcro on this, and all of the Velcro that you use, I recommend that you do not buy any Velcro that already has adhesive on it. Because everything that I used that had Velcro on it, that had adhesive already on it, the adhesive eventually wore out or melted, these peeled off. So I just went and bought raw Velcro and then put E6000 on the back of it and glued it to the armor. So that's how this Velcro is, that's how this Velcro is here. And that's pretty much it. So if you've got any questions, just put them down below. I'll try and answer them. Also, keep an eye out for future videos on the rest of my armor. Thanks.